with the most grit is the team that comes out on top, on or off the field. That's why the team of Chevy ZR2 off-road trucks is always a force to be reckoned with. Now, the first ever Silverado HD ZR2 joins the all-new Colorado ZR2 and the Silverado ZR2 to create a lineup that is off-road ready right from the factory. With Multimatic DSSB dampers, rugged Goodyear Territory MT tires, and underbody aluminum skid plates, they can take on anything the season throws their way. The Chevy ZR2 family of off-road trucks. Visit Chevy.com.
When you want football talk straight from the pros, turn to Moving the Chains. League veterans Pat Kerwin and Jim Miller talk X's and O's with players, coaches, and more as they dig into the top stories, latest headlines, and new developments. Plus, in-depth analysis and reactions to all the game day action. It's hard-hitting football talk on Moving the Chains, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88. Brought to you by Window World. See why Window World earned a Good Housekeeping seal and thousands of 5-star reviews at windowworld.com.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see.
Just visit prizepicks.com/football and use code FOOTBALL. That's code FOOTBALL at prizepicks.com/football for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Which means that it just got easier to be an NFL fan, even if you live far away. Like maybe you like the Bears, but you're hibernating in Panthers territory. But with NFL Sunday Ticket, your out-of-market team is never more than a short distance away. Specifically, the distance from you to your remote control. NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. Go to youtube.com/NFLST to get $50 off.
Terms and embargoes apply. Offer ends 9/19. No refund. Subscription auto renews.
Tune in all week to hear from the top coaches with the Coaches Call-Ins on SiriusXM NFL Radio. Brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL. Visit sleepnumber.com.
Best. With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada. Your life.
This is Dr. Laura. If you want some no-nonsense advice, call me.
Your future.
Dave Ramsey here will give you the proven strategies for your life, your money,
your point of view.
It's me, Megan Kelly. Smart, in-depth, fun, sometimes provocative conversations on this show. I'm not going to hold back.
Plus, inspiring views with Glenn Beck. And daily bombshells on crime stories with Nancy Grace. To hear SiriusXM Triumph, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
This is Tom Brady, and I'm back on SiriusXM for another season of Let's Go with Jim Gray and Larry Fitzgerald.
Let's go, baby.
I'm kicking off the next chapter of my career and talking with some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment.
Charles Barkley. I wish I could say positive things about everybody all the time, but if you play bad, I can't get on TV and tell people you play good.
Catch Let's Go Mondays at 6 Eastern on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, and exclusively on the SXM app.
To hear Season 3 of Let's Go, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
We want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Now this is what I call prime time. We'll see you on the court.
A Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM, we want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artist you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
When you experience the NFL on the SiriusXM app, every game, all season long with your hometown announcers.
They have come back from 27-0 to win the game.
Your local pre- and post-game shows. Plus, get expanded content like press conferences, locker room interviews, and coaches' shows from select teams. Just open the SiriusXM app and search for your team. Then click the favorite star to listen all season long.
How good is that?
Run for all the UFC Fight Night cards on channel 156. Plus, hear the preliminary bouts and pre- and post-fight commentary for UFC pay-per-view cards. The UFC is on your home for combat sports. SiriusXM Fight Nation, channel 156, and on the SXM app.
To hear the UFC on SiriusXM Fight Nation, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe with 28 podcast applications. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Want to be my neighbor. Shut up! And I'm trying to always bring the neighborhood together, but I guess it just doesn't work when it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I gotta learn to set my watch, but you don't have to set your watch. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 28 podcast applications all across the universe. On a beautiful September the 15th, you can find us on Google, Alexa, I love Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Castbox Podcast, and Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Good Pods Podcast. You can also find us on GeoSavan out of London, England, as well as India and Africa, Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, WePod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wire, Podbay, the Bubble Podcast, Podcast Prodigy, Podcast Republic, and the only one that used to scare me, but now it doesn't because I found a way to turn it off. It's called the Teddy Switch. If you are trying to turn off anything and it's not listening, or sometimes if you're trying to turn something on, you gotta say, turn off the lights, and light a candle. You see, I'm in a romantic mood, yeah. Say, turn off the lights, and come to me. You see, there's something I've been wanting to do to you, baby. Turn them off. Man, I've been practicing. We want the real Teddy. You can't have the real Teddy, but you gotta have Big C's can be called a Teddy. I can be a Teddy, but at the same time, I've learned if you want to turn something off, sometimes you can't call in Teddy Pendergrass because oftentimes when he starts saying there's something I've been wanting to do to you, baby, turn him off. You're so sweet. That turns people on. In fact, if you don't believe it, try it sometime. When you go and spend time with someone and dip their heels, and you want some quiet time, that's when you say turn off the TV, turn off the cell phones, but don't turn off Teddy when he said there's something I've been wanting to do to you, baby. If that don't get it, say turn them off. That means cell phones, electronic devices, everything. But you can understand, it's not the real Teddy. Turn them off! It turns people on. Give Teddy some praise. That brother knew what he was doing. It works like computers too. But be careful if you don't have someone you love. Even the dogs might come to the room. No, I'm talking, get out of the room, dog. Wasn't talking to you. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast. I'm telling you, on 4 TV platforms streaming: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Amazon, and Fire TV. And I'm telling you, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Roku TV, Amazon, and Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. You gotta give that some praise. Sometimes when you have a good night's sleep, like I did last night, that doctor gave me something that just knocks me out. But I'm glad it's good being knocked out in a good way. But I always try to go to sleep to Teddy Pendergrass. So even in my subconscious mind, when I'm trying to count those sheep, and Teddy says, he said, turn them off. It works. Try it sometime. Guaranteed it will work. You don't need flowers. You don't need chocolates. Just put on some Teddy. And when he says, turn them off, that's when people get turned on. Give turn on some praise. And speaking of being turned on, I want to tell you, I produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. And then I'm telling you, I do the commercials. Big C Sports is the only sports show in the universe. I do all of my commercials pre-roll. Most 1-hour shows, they will do an hour show. They'll have 4 different pauses where they'll put in 3 or 4 commercials. I do mine up front. I just keep going and going and going and going. And this is when you don't listen to Teddy. When he says, turn them off. You don't listen to sports, if that makes sense to you. I promote Teddy Pendergrass because really that brother knew what he was talking about. And then I'm telling you, the stats are provided, even the storytelling. I do the play-by-play. Runners on first and third. The count's full. The pitch, curveball, swung on, hit deep, right field, back to the wall. All right. Say hello to my little friends. I love it saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. Say hello to my little friends. Actually came from Scarface. If you want Tony Montana, you don't want him saying say hello to my little friends because he didn't mean it in a good way. But for baseball, they all know what it means. If that makes sense to you, it means you hit the home run over the fence. And then the show's uploaded to 28 multiple podcast platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Dim Deer Hills. I love Dim Deer Hills, California. The weather's so nice today. The skies are bluer. Even though there's lightning up in the hills at the same time. I'm telling you, I really do appreciate it. 4 TV platforms also. And then I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports with the crew. You got to give that some praise. And don't turn it off. My goodness. Let's talk about Teddy Pendergrass. But it wouldn't work. You know how much money people wasted on Michael Jackson? I mean, Michael Jackson, king of pop, obviously. But when he was trying to find some love, he said, "Tell him that is human nature. Why does it give me that way?" That doesn't get anybody to get next to you. When you saying, leave that 9 to 5 up on the shelf and just enjoy yourself. Come on and groove. Let the madness and the music get to you. Life ain't so bad at all. We living off the wall. Enough! You're not Michael Jackson! We want the real Mike! Well, you can't have the real Mike right now. But imagine that compared to turn off the lights and light a candle. You see there's something I they want to do to you, baby! Turn them off! Which one works better? I'm not saying Michael Jackson didn't have his moments, but compared to Teddy, when you're in the mood, there's nothing like Teddy. That's why I love giving Teddy praise, if that makes sense to you. What I also want to give praise to is our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced, helping veterans. Yeah, a lot of y'all not getting what you want because you didn't put on Teddy. He said, turn them off! That means TVs, cell phones, all that stuff. You can light a candle. Give that brothers a praise. At the same time, the Veterans Crisis Hotline, they really are experienced, helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know anybody going through issues? Turn them off! No, don't turn them off. But call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. And if somebody won't let you lean on them, turn them off! That brother was powerful. But you got to have the baritone voice. If you don't have the baritone voice, it just doesn't work. Again, imagine Prince saying, turn him off. and light a candle. It just doesn't have the same flavor. Teddy knew what he was doing. I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then he said, let there be light. If that makes sense to you, really do appreciate Xfinity and Comcast TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. I'm going to tell you something else that I love. I love doing this because, oh my goodness, just had an epiphany. Oh, Big C, what do you know about epiphanies? I've been saying that I was going to have the top senator in the United States of America, Stephen Bradford, had a letter sent into his office with the National Black Wall Street Project, and his office responded, said, when do you want to talk? You got to give that some praise. I'm not shucking and jiving. I'm not talking to him about who's bigger, stronger, and faster. I'm talking to the man about reparations, how to get reparations to happen. Because President Abraham Lincoln, he said it before. He said reparations now, reparations forever. And too many of our beautiful and talented black men have got an opportunity to get on the airways, but they refuse to talk about one of the most seminal moments in the history of the United States of America. I'm gonna give someone, in fact, everybody, you get a homework assignment. Get out your cell phones or electronic devices. I know you want to know who won the game, but that's part of the problem. They got us drunk on sports. Google Executive Order 13985. This came by 00. An advocate, a financier, and someone who's very well read. Executive Order 13985 on further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government, the White House. You know, that means President Biden. Oh, there you go, Big C, quoting President Biden. I'm trying to tell you, reparations is about to happen because on his first day in office, he signed Executive Order 13985 on January 20, 2021, advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. Give that some praise. I'm telling you, this is real. Which charged the federal government with advancing equity for all, including communities that have long been underserved, and addressing the systemic racism in our nation's policies and programs. By advancing equity, the federal government can support and empower all Americans, including the many communities in America that have been underserved. Give that some praise. He signed it. Big C didn't sign it. I'm just advocating for it. And most of our black brethren, when they get a microphone in front of their face, all they do is ogle over how big, strong, and fast an athlete is. What a shame. That's wasted airspace. I'm going to finish by saying this. This was sent to me by 00. It's important because communities that have been underserved, discriminated against, and adversely affected by persistent poverty and inequality can also deliver resources and benefits equitably to the people of the United States and rebuild trust in the government. Give that some praise. I know a lot of us just want to look at sports and we think that sports is going to be the caveat to everything. And sports does bring a lot of people together. But I want to give 00 some praise for sending me that information. It's so important. I want to acknowledge CNN for doing advertising with Big C Sports. You can give that some praise for all the knuckleheads that said, oh man, you talk too much politics. At the same time, I want to praise the California Reparations Task Force. Oh my goodness, I just had another epiphany. What sports show in the universe has been championing the California Reparations Task Force? You can't make this stuff up. I've been doing it for every show. And I got responded to this morning. I want to give it the praise. The chair of the California Reparations Task Force, mandated by California Governor Gavin Newsom, Camila Moore, the chair and attorney of reparative justice, brilliant. Also, Dr. Amos C. Brown, vice chair, brilliant. The #1 senator in the United States of America responded to Big C Sports today. Senator Stephen Bradford, he's responsible for name, image, and likeness. I know a lot of our black brethren got to understand that because when you talk about it, he's the one that's responsible for it. You know he's coming on? He's talking to Big C. Now, what if you guys that were propped up by the national media and the gatekeepers that have a bigger name than I have, if you were to reach out to the #1 senator in the United States of America, Stephen Bradford. You can Google him. He's responsible for name, image, and likeness. Why is he talking to Big C and not some of the guys who are out there shucking and jiving? Seriously, why? And you can't say I haven't been talking about it. Like I'm saying I'm going to get this $6 billion too, because I've been talking about that too. I'm so passionate. It might be the 9 series DNA that I came in contact with. 9 series DNA! It's so sweet! Think about this. Senator Stephen Bradford. And what if our top, I won't say top, because that's an oxymoron. What if our more advertised media brethren and top athletes? Listen up, NFL. Listen up, NBA. Listen up, Major League Baseball. There's one beautiful, intelligent black man in Dimdare Hills, California. I've been championing this stuff for many, many moons. And today I got an email back from the office from the #1 senator in the United States of America, Stephen Bradford. Give that some praise, because I've been talking about it. You know, some of the people that I know, they said, Big C, you're going to sound like a fool when they don't respond. I had some knuckleheads tell me that. But now I got the email saying, when do you want to talk and what platform do you want to use? Now, what if we had some of our top guys from the NFL, the guys making $30 million a year? What if they were to do the same thing that Big C's doing? I'm telling you, either lead, follow, or get out of the way. What if we had some of our most celebrated NBA athletes that come from 9 series DNA? What if they had the stones the size of the face of a mustard seed? If your stones are the size of a mustard seed, give yourself some praise. Because I look pretty stupid if I'm the only one out here yelling at the microphone. But sometimes, like Teddy Pendergast, he said, turn them off! But at the same time, I've been trying to turn it on. And this, I'm telling you, life hasn't happened today, because I got the email this morning from the #1 senator in the United States of America. I just read you executive order that came from President Biden. That we all got to understand that things happen when you get the right people behind it. And that's why I tell everybody, I want you to Google Executive Order 13985. It sounds like a football score. 13-9, 39-8. Think about it. If Big C can do it and get the #1 senator in the United States of America that's pushing for reparations, if I can get him to talk to me, what's happening to our top brethren and our black men and our white men too, that are pro-Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president, and pro-fairness and equality? If people talk about Deion Sanders, what is Deion Sanders going to do? Is Primetime going to wear a hat and some glasses doing an interview? What a waste of airspace. And then there's Big C saying, how can we get reparations? Because President Abraham Lincoln gave it to us. We have our receipt! And the #1 senator of the United States of America, Stephen Bradford, he's on the California Reparations Task Force. Give that some praise. I'm not shucking and jiving. So for all you knuckleheads that said, Big C, you talk too much about politics. And now CNN's advertising on Big C Sports. This is CNN. And then this week, the #1 senator in the United States of America, he's the man who's responsible for name, image, and likeness. And that's why many athletes are getting paid today, college athletes. He's a black man, beautiful, intelligent, and black. He's not sitting around shucking and jiving. And he's not passive. Quit being passive. Sometimes you got to yell like Teddy Pendergast to get somebody's attention. And that's what I'm trying to do. But it's working. Give that stuff some praise. It's so important. That's more important to all society. Reparations will stimulate the American economy. Oh, I don't want my taxes raised. It's not about raising your taxes. The money is already set aside. I just read your executive order through President Biden. He signed it when he got in office. It's the first executive order that he signed. How come people don't know about it unless you follow Big C Sports? That came from 00. Executive Order 13985. I didn't write it. It's the first order that President Biden signed. He's going to sign reparations too. Give that some praise. Because if I could just get just a few intelligent men from the NFL in the NBA and Major League Baseball, and you owners who own sports leagues, how dare you not honor the men who make you wealthy? People want to focus on NFL football because it's a $15 billion industry. Who's their principal product? Black men. Oh, there you go again. It's a fact. Why would you not want to honor if you're a I think it was one of the car companies just went on strike. I forgot the name of it. It may be Ford or GM. And they brought on a spokesperson for the car companies, and she said we offer them 20% raise. And they still said they're not happy with it. And then the TV reporter said, well, you got a 40% raise. She said, well, that's not true. And they're still at the negotiating table. If that's important to people, that the people who make you money are on pause because they want more money, and that makes the news, why don't we hear more about descendants of child slavery? Because they got no money. Nothing was ever bequeathed or passed down. Nothing at all. But the auto workers, they're having a strike, and people want to go on television and say we want to do whatever we can to get them some money. And you would think the same thing would happen for reparations. Now, I don't care what people say about Big C Sports Podcast. I'm going to talk about sports too. But at the same time, you would think there'd be more of these marquee guys that they advertise on television making $20, $30, $40 million a year. And they say nothing. I told you what God gave in the talents. It's in Matthew 25, I think 13 through 30. It's about the wise men that were given some talents. And the master was leaving town. He gave away talents. One got 5, the other got 3, the other got 1. And there are some people who are household names because they're always on television. And they're doing a lot to just keep selling you shoes. Or selling you cars. Or selling you some type of sports app. And the app that should be sold is Reparations now, Reparations forever. They did that some praise. You know who's doing that? Big C Sports. You can't tell me that there's any other sports show in the universe that the #1 senator in the United States willing to talk to him. Not about shucking and jiving. Not about it must be the shoes. It's got to be the shoes, man. It's got to be the shoes. No, mine is, it's got to be the reparations, man. It's got to be the reparations. It's got to be reparations. There's some people that say, Big C, you talk too much about politics. How did I land the #1 senator in the United States? There's none higher than him other than Vice President Kamala Harris and President Biden. And I just told you he signed Executive Order 13985. That came to me by 00. That's important. And what if I just got a few other people that help me push that wagon up the hill? We get it up the hill high enough, and next thing you know, it's starting to snowball, and it starts taking effect. You got to give that some praise. I'm not just talking. I don't do this show just to get on and talk about sports. I want to finish paying homage to California senator and the #1 senator of the United States, because of name, image, and likeness, he's helping young people get paid, mostly black men. Senator Stephen Bradford. Give him some praise. Also, council member Monica Montgomery Steppe. Give him some praise. I got also communication out for Assembly member Reginald Jones Sawyer. Give him some praise. Going to hear back from his office soon. Dr. Shell Grills. I want to give her some praise. I got attorney Lisa Holder. Give her some praise. Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California, Berkeley. Give him some praise. And attorney Donald K. Tamaki, part of the California Reparations Task Force. Give him some praise. And if that's something that Big C Sports is able to get them to talk to them, not the guys that are sucking and jiving on TV. I'm not knocking these men and women. They should be championing the same thing, and you know it's true. It will stimulate the economy. So when the auto industry goes on strike, they come out and talk about it. Why are they striking? Because they want more money. Well, who's going to come out and stomp for the descendants of child slavery outside of Big C Sports? Will you do it? I'm doing it. And I've taken a lot of arrows. It's not always easy when you go against the current, because a lot of people are just dumbed down, intellectually vapid. And they'll get on TV and yell and argue about who's bigger. Oh, I can't believe you think this guy's better than that guy? Oh, you must be out of your mind! As if that's going to do anything for life. But they've been told by the puppeteers to go out and yell at each other and have these manufactured arguments. It's a shame. Because if you're beautiful and intelligent and you're learned, why would you let someone use you that way? When every life we get is a blessing from God, every breath we get, why not use it to benefit people? That's why I say Big C Sports is the #1 sports show in the universe! I have senators that talk to me. I have the #1 sports agent for name, image, and likeness come on the show also. I don't really do interviews, but Everett Davis came on. His company, Checkmate Sports, they sold more name, image, and likeness contracts than anyone in the universe! And he came on Big C Sports. That's what I'm saying. It's a $1 billion company. $6 billion through factory. God knows it's true. Now, for those of you who say, man, enough! At the same time, I just want to ask our top athletes and entertainers, if Big C Sports can do it, and not a lot of people know who I am, but for those who do, they respect what I'm saying because everything I say you can Google. I'm not trying to shuck and jive anybody, but I think God gave me a gift. I was given that gift when I was a young boy. It's called my voice. When I speak, people listen. Not everybody. Some people say, man, I don't like your voice at all. And that's okay too. Some people don't like Teddy Pendergrass's voice, and he always said, turn them off! If people didn't like Teddy Pendergrass's voice, you know what he's saying? He said, turn them off! And I say the same thing. I don't want to spend time around negative people. I like erudite people who are well-learned, well-read, that want to do things for all people. Because I believe in peace, in liberty, and justice for all. Give that praise. I want to get into one more thing that's important. Because I know that what I'm doing is working. You can't refute it. I'm going to give another quiz. Just like I said, Executive Order 13985 that was sent to me by 00. Google Survivors Today Act of 2017. The Justice for Uncompensated Survivors Act is called the Justice for Uncompensated Survivors Today Act of 2017. It's United States legislation that requires the State Department to report to Congress on steps that 47 countries in Europe have taken to compensate Holocaust survivors and their heirs for assets seized by Nazi Germany and post-war communist governments. If the auto workers would get behind reparations, they wouldn't have to put so much pressure on the unions to get them more money. Give that some praise. I've been fighting for everybody. Because when the black society, that economy is stimulated, it will stimulate the economy. More food, groceries, housing, business. That money's owed. When President Abraham Lincoln promised black soldiers 40 acres and a mule, and black Americans that, when slavery was abolished, when he was assassinated, President Andrew Johnson vetoed the bill. They didn't do away with the land, they gave it to white people. You know, the ones who tried to overthrow the United States government, called the Southern Confederates. And you know what they did? They had babies too. And they bequeathed that land and property and business onto future generations. And some of those people are in power now. You think they're going to give that money and land back? By executive order, they have to. That's why you got to give executive order some praise. I'm not shucking and jiving. That's more important than touchdown, home run, three-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. We can do both. And imagine when I get $6 billion. Because I know it's coming. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. Imagine how many people Big C Sports can employ around the world. Let me eradicate poverty. Maybe we can't eradicate everything, but I believe we can create more jobs. If I have the top senator in the United States of America listening to me, why not you? This is even for President Biden. He already signed the executive order. 00 sent it to me. I read it all over the air. Imagine when we get our top flight athletes and entertainers to do the same thing and quit shucking and jiving. And realize that I've been the one, I told you, I want to be the vanguard when reparations are announced. You give me praise right now. You either lead, follow, or get out of the way. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it, but I do want to pay homage to one more thing. And I'm just so excited about so many things in life right now. I would feel like be derelict, if I did not get on here and give people the proper credibility. Associated Press, Janie Harr, March 29th, 2023. She called me to ask me my thoughts on reparations. I said, how'd you get my number? She said, we have our ways. I said, what made you call me? She said, because I heard you speak. She said, I heard you speak! And she said, you're not like the others. I'm just saying, what if we got one or two people from every sports team, NFL team that's playing this weekend, college football teams that's playing this weekend, and every sports league owner? I know they have to believe in egalitarianism. They have to. This is going to... Who doesn't want to stimulate the economy? You have the auto workers, and even Hollywood's on strike because they want more wages. The descendants of child slavery, they couldn't strike for anything. They were murdered. They were lynched. They worked from cradle to grave. Raped, sold off, pillaged, lynched for just wanting liberty and justice for all. What kind of person in today's society would not want to repair that damage? Why would we ask the evil people what they think? You think the Ku Klux Klan wants reparations of the Southern Confederates? Why are we capitulating to them? Oh, not everybody wants reparations to happen. Who in the hell cares what they think? When President Biden signed Executive Order 13985 sent to me by 00, he didn't capitulate to the Southern Confederates or the Ku Klux Klan or some of the people who are anti-reparations. He didn't do it. So I told you, NFL, I'm hoping it happens soon, because I don't want to look like a fool. The NFL owners, the ones that have a heart, not all of them have a heart, but the ones that have a heart, in the NBA owners, the ones who have a heart, not all of them have a heart. They'll be known by what they do and what they don't do. They're going to start championing reparations because they're going to be alerted to what 00 sent me. Executive Order 13985! And when they look at the beautiful, intelligent black men that take the field in uniforms for them to make the NFL a $15 billion industry. And even our good white brethren, they're on board too. So don't make it about black and white. It's about right versus wrong. Which line are you in? Even our owners that own these major sports leagues that seek to recruit and hire black men for the most part. 75% of the NFL players are black. 80% of the NBA players are black. Baseball is another story. But how do they dare look those men in the eye and say, we're not going to do what President Abraham Lincoln said that we should do, which is honor you and your ancestry and your legacy? Because reparations will stimulate the economy. Who doesn't want to do that? You got to give BC Sports some praise. I've told you my story, and I'm sticking with it. And now, what I want to do is get into what I've been doing for a long time. When I was a little boy, I was always fascinated by what sports can do for people. And everybody has their own opinion about it. I think it's so important. I want to say something that's so important to me. Sports is a $1 billion industry. And boys and girls sports is a foundation to this $1 billion industry. And I believe that with more people, yeah, you can give that some praise, with more people doing what Big C Sports are doing, to let young people know that we have your back. We're not just trying to shuck and jive and not get people doing the right thing that helps everybody. Let's honor President Abraham Lincoln. I want to get into Big C's Friday Night Lights, give that some praise. #1 high school football team in the country. This is Big C's Thoughts. I got #1 Modern Day High School, Santa Ana, California. Followed by #2 St. John Bosco from Bellflower, California. #3, I have Bishop Gorman from Las Vegas, Nevada. Followed by #4, IMG Academy out of Bradenton, Florida. I have #5 is Central High School from Miami, Florida. I have #6, Chaminade High School of Madonna, Hollywood, Florida. #7, I have Buford, Florida out of Georgia. #8, I have Duncanville out of Duncanville, Texas. #9, I have North Shore High School out of Houston, Texas. And #10, I have St. Thomas Aquinas from Fort Lauderdale, Texas. Give them all some praise. Now, this is where I got to put a little rub for some of my brethren that come out of the Sunshine State. If you look at Big C's top 10 high school football programs, if you look at Modern Day High School of Santa Ana, St. John Bosco of Bellflower, California, they've beaten, over the last 4 years, beaten Bishop Gorman, beaten IMG Academy, beating Miami Central, beating Duncanville out of Texas, and beating St. Thomas Aquinas out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Give California some praise. Now, if California high school is so good, why is the Pac-12 dissolving and they're joining states where they don't have the same dominant football program? Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to get in last night in the NFL, had the Minnesota Vikings. They got knocked off again by the Philadelphia Eagles. It was 34-28. The point spread was 6, and this is why I say 800 gambler. The point spread was 6. Philadelphia was up by 3 scores. And 800 gambler calls in, and the Minnesota Vikings close it out to 6 points. So if you hit on the point spread, you're fine. But the Eagles, I guess you would say they covered because they were picked to win by 6. They won by 6. But there's a lot of shenanigans going on in that game. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I know everybody has their own opinion. But now I'm going to give that some praise, and now I'm going to get into Big C's Week 2 NFL picks. And everybody has their own thoughts. Week 1 of the NFL has some blowout victories, especially my top team, the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. Also, Aaron Touchdown Rodgers got a bum leg, and they're trying to repair that. All's fair and nothing more. But I want to get into my thoughts for the games coming up. As I tell you, and I do beg your pardon, the Eagles did not cover last night because they were a 6. Listen to me, people, 800 gambler. Oh, Big C, what do you know? The over-under was 6.5. They only won by 6. They didn't cover. The over-under was 6.5. They only won by 6 points. Give Big C Sports some praise. All friend, never war. That's just the way the ball bounces. But you got to be careful when you're betting money and that you can't afford to lose when it comes to these games. This has been a presentation of the National Football League. All fan level war. Well, this week, Big C's picks the Green Bay Packers at the Atlanta Falcons, and the Packers are favored by 1.5, if that makes sense to you. Last week's win over the Bears, Green Bay's Matt LaFleur, he now has the 4th best winning percentage of any coach in NFL history at 72%. Okay, you can Google it if that makes sense to you. But a guy by the name of Jordan Love out of Liberty High School in Bakersfield, he looked a lot like Brett Favre. He had a good game. And this good old boy now, they got to take on the Falcons. And I'm telling you, the Falcons had 29 passing yards through 3 quarters last week. You got to go with Green Bay in this game. That's my story. I'm taking with it. The Chicago, the Bears at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Tampa's a 2.5-point favorite. They just knocked off the Minnesota Vikings. And now I think they're coming home. Touchdown maker Bayfield, he's ready to roll again. You got the Bears quarterback Justin Fields. He threw a pick 6, lost the fumble, and was sacked 4 times. He looked uncomfortable all day. He was uncomfortable like those underwear I was wearing yesterday. They made me uncomfortable too. Now I have to take him and tear him up today because they said extra large. But sometimes I was dealing with my contact issues, and sometimes I don't read the labels right. So I thought I was buying some extra large underwear. They come 3 in a pack. And by the time I realized they were just too tight for my mustard seed, if that makes sense to you. So as I tore the underwear up, as a lot of you men and women, you've done it too, I thought it said extra large load. But as I got closer by putting on my reading spectacles, it said extra wide load. I don't need no extra wide load. I need extra large load. Give an extra large load some praise. But I tore them up anyway, if that makes sense to you. Going back to extra wide load, the Bears got to get a better offensive line because they're letting their quarterback get beaten up, and that doesn't make sense if that makes sense to you. Got the Seattle Seahawks. They're at the Detroit Lions. Detroit's favored by 5.5. When you think about it, they went into Kansas City and got a win, but I told you that was going to happen too because they didn't have Chris Jones, their best defensive player, and Travis Kelce, their best offensive receiver. They didn't have it. And they think about what they did. They got smoked 30-13 at home by the Rams. Now, if you're smoking salmon, that's one thing. But you can't get smoked on the football field at Lumen Stadium. And now they got to go across the country and play the Detroit Lions. If a lion and a Seahawk were in a cage, you got to go with the lion all the time. The lion would devour that Seahawk, if that makes sense to you. But I'm telling you, it's hard to go 0-2 when you have a team like Pete Carroll. But I'm telling you, there's something about the Detroit Lions that showed me they have a lot of moxie, and they really swarm to the ball. the way they did against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1. The Lions have extra rest after their Thursday night win. And I'm telling you, the Lions are favored by 5.5. I don't think they'll win by 5.5, but I think they'll win, if that makes sense to you. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Buffalo Bills. They're a 9.5-point underdog. That has Las Vegas written all over it. When I think about it, Josh Allen's greatest gift is his biggest curse. He thinks he's touchdown Patrick Mahomes, and he's not. He treats every play like it's a fourth quarter, and he has to make the big play. He doesn't have to do that. Get the ball to touchdown Stephon Diggs, and let that running game go, and let that Bills Mafia form. Now, the Raiders went into Denver last week, and they got a win in the Mile High City in Denver Hills, Colorado. I don't think they travel well and go on the East Coast. And on the game, Jimmy Garoppolo, he put the Raiders on his back, and he helped them get a win up in Denver because I think Denver blew that game. That's my thoughts. And Jimmy Garoppolo, every now and then, he may throw a pick. He threw one in the game against Denver. If you're at Buffalo, and Buffalo needs a win in the worst way, I think Buffalo wins this game. I don't think they cover 9.5. I think they win by a touchdown. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. The Raiders! Yeah, the Raiders, I think they're going to lose that game on the East Coast. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. The Los Angeles Chargers! They're at the Tennessee Titans, down where the moonshine flows. And the good news for the Chargers is their offense with Kellen Moore got off to a good start. They fell apart the last drive of the game against the Miami Dolphins, all fair and lemon war. But the Chargers produced the highest success rate of any offense in Week 1, but their defense let them down. Now they're going down to the dirty South where the moonshine flows. Mike Vrabel, he had to kick a field goal on a 4th and 6 from the Saints' 11-yard line. With 2:17 left, he cut the lead to 16-15, but the Titans never got the ball back. He'll do better coaching this week. I think the Chargers can go in and score, but what will they do the week before? Will they go down there to Elvis Presley territory and have some of that homemade moonshine? I don't know. It's hard for West Coast teams to win going east. I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans and getting this win, maybe by a field goal this time, if that makes sense to you. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. They like the nice play. Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Shane Steichen. And Houston Indianapolis is a 1-point favorite. You got rookie quarterbacks coming into the league, giving Anthony Richardson his youth, his inexperience, is going to cost Indianapolis. And when you think about Houston, they have a great defense, D'Amico Ryans, but their offense is still learning. And C.J. Stroud has a little bit of hitch in his giddy-up, the rookie quarterback. If you're at home and you're Houston, you're facing a rookie team coming in from Indianapolis, and D'Amico Ryans' defense, I think he can outcoach what Shane Steichen's doing offensively. I'm going to go with Houston getting that win down in the city of Houston, what they call H-Town, if that makes sense to you. At the same time, I have the Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are -3. They're getting 3 points. I'm not sure any team had a more costly week victory than the Ravens. They lost running back J.K. Dobbins for the season. Safety Marcus Williams is expected to be out for a while. And left tackle Ronnie Stanley and center Tyler Linderbaum, they both suffered injuries, and neither player participated in Wednesday's practice. It's a banged-up team, but they do have, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, I'm Superman. They have Superman Lamar Jackson. But can he be enough if you don't have a good running game? And J.K. Dobbins, Cincinnati got blown out by Cleveland in Week 1. I don't think they get blown out in Week 2. But the Ravens, I hate going against the Ravens in a spot like this. I know they're going to have a special teams edge, but the Bengals are healthier. And I don't think last week is going to reflect well on how they play this week. I look, if it's a big word, spit it out, Big C. If I didn't read the wrong label, I would have bought the right size underwear, if that makes sense to you. But I'm going to tell you also, in this game coming up, everybody has their own opinion about, did I buy the right underwear yesterday? Did I buy the right underwear? Some praise. I'm telling you, I love what I'm doing in sports. But this game, I want to go with the Baltimore Ravens. But I don't think they're going to pull off a win when so many people are banged up. That's my story. I'm taking with it. Kansas City Chiefs at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kansas City, I don't see them starting 0-2. And they're a 3.5-point favorite. They're a good team. They still have touchdown Patrick Mahomes. They have a good offensive line. Chris Jones is back, so that makes a difference on defense, getting pressure on Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence. And tight end Travis Kelce, he's going to play this week. The Jaguars' defense did not impress me last week, and I think the Chiefs, with Jones and Kelsey back, they're not going to go 0-2. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs, get that road. They got to get a road win in Jacksonville. They just will. And then the team I love from Dimdale Hills, California, the San Francisco 49ers. They're playing at what's called Levi South in Los Angeles, known as SoFi Stadium. And the 49ers are a 7.5-point favorite. I don't know if I'm buying that. I saw what the Rams just did to the Seahawks in Dimdale Hills. I know the 49ers have beaten the Rams, I think, 5 out of the last 6 games. Touchdown Matthew Stafford had the most impressive performance of any quarterback in week 1. He was playing without his number 1 receiver, Cooper Kupp, out of Eastern Washington. And they carved up the Seahawks. But the 49ers, they're a different breed of cat, if that makes sense to you. I like the 49ers, what they do with Deebo Samuel. I like what they do with Brandon Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey. Nick Bosa's going to get a sack this week. I also like the way the 49ers put a lot of pressure on any offense. And I think after that 30-7 win over the Steelers, I like the 49ers going down there and having the home field advantage. What, Curry, you crazy? Yeah, the home field advantage down at SoFi Stadium is going to be painted red and gold. Red and gold because it's a fistful of gold in them there hills. I got the 49ers winning, but I got them winning more by a touchdown than 7.5. If that makes sense to you, that's my story I'm taking with it. How about them New York Giants at the Arizona Cardinals? And the Giants are favored by 6. It's important to tell you that Daniel Jones, if you have him in the game of a 40-0 loss, that doesn't make any sense. Brian Daboll, he wanted something positive to happen, but you just saw a touchdown Aaron Rodgers get his leg jacked up on that same turf in the Meadowlands while you had your starter quarterback and then he's down 40-0. At the same time, here's a betting nugget. Since 1993, teams that suffer a 40-point loss in week 1, they're 11-3-1 against the spread. How's that for you in Dimdale Hills? I get the Giants winning that game down in the desert, if that makes sense to you. How about them Cowboys? The New York Jets, the Jets, Jets. They're at the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones loves them. They're a 9.5-point favorite. Whoa, not so fast, my friend. It's hard to get a 9.5-point favorite against anybody in the NFL. By the time the score is over, I think the Cowboys win, but I don't think they win by 9.5 points. That's just my opinion. The team is too good and too fun with Zach Wilson to not go in there and challenge the Cowboys. But a bunch of role players who showed up on Monday night and what felt like a miraculous win for the Jets, they're down in Cowboy territory. And Jerry Jones doesn't take lightly to those New Yorkers coming into Texas and moving things around on that start. I got Dallas women and touchdown. Dak Prescott will have a good game, but I don't see a 9.5. I see them winning by a touchdown, if that makes sense to you. The Washington Commanders at the Denver Broncos in Dimdale Hills, Colorado. The Broncos are favored by 3.5. They should have beat the Raiders last week, but shoulda, woulda, coulda, doesn't matter. When you think about how good the Broncos can be, it's really a moment in time. It's a similar moment for Russell Houdini Wilson. He has to get a win because the media's all over him up in Denver. At least he has Sierra to go home and say, turn off the lights, boom, and light a candle. You see, there's something I be wanting to do to you, baby. Turn them off. He has Sierra to go home and turn off the lights, but he has to keep the lights on in Denver, and they got to win. You got to think about this team in Denver. They're built to win and will to win now. I got them winning this game because not only must they win this game to stay up in the AFC in the West, Washington's a good team. But I'm going to give the Broncos because of the altitude. I'm going to give them the win. Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick's going to go to 0-2. This kind of scares me because as good as Miami looked against the Chargers in Southern California, now they got to go across the country again and go up north to New England. Well, New England, they nearly beat Philadelphia. There's no reason for New England to go 0-2, not against Bill Belichick's coach team. But Miami's very good. They're a very good team. But can they beat the Patriots at the Patriots where the weather's going to be inclement? They got some storm closing in on the East Coast. It's going to be a defensive slugfest. I don't know how well Tua Tagovailoa will play up in the inclement weather in New England. And I may be stupid when I say this, but I've been known as being stupid before. How do you go against Bill Belichick? Bill, what's your game plan for defeating Miami? Oh, we're just going to go in there and try to score more points. That's his story, and he's sticking with it. I'm going to say the Eagles had a pair of quality starting offensive tackles. Philadelphia is not the same, I don't think so, offensively. Defensively, New England, they're good enough to not go to 0-2 because the weather's inclement. I'm going against my better mind says Miami's going to win this game because a fish plays well in the water. I think I'm just going to go Miami with a field goal because they have the better offense. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But it's going to be in inclement weather. That's the one I gotta tighten my butt strap or my pants butt strap. I gotta tighten my boot strap if that makes sense to you. Butt strap, boot strap, same thing. New Orleans Saints. Who that said they're gonna beat them Saints? At the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints because Derek Carr right now is a better quarterback than Bryce Young. And Carolina's offense doesn't block very well. They have a rookie quarterback, and the Saints got to win, and their defense is better. I'm going to go with the Saints. They're already favored by 3. Cleveland, this is for you. At the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm telling you, Cleveland, as good as they looked against the Cincinnati Bengals last week, Pittsburgh also, the Browns are favored by 2.5, and I think they'll get it. I think because they have Deshaun Watson, who's got to have a come-out game. After an embarrassing loss to the 49ers in Week 1, the Steelers now face a team that's coming off an impressive victory over the Bengals. Mike Tomlin, I like to pick this guy at home. He's never had a losing season, but I'm going to go with the Cleveland to win this game up in Pittsburgh. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Give me some praise. There's a lot of college football games in upstate and Denver Hills, California, and also all over the country. But everybody has their thoughts about this big game with Colorado State and Colorado and Deion Sanders and the thought that the Colorado Buffaloes, some people say they're the real deal. Others say wait until they play Oregon and USC coming up in the next 2 weeks. I'm telling you, I love football. Pac-12, I think they've only lost one non-conference game. That was Arizona losing to Mississippi. But Oregon and USC will test Colorado more than Colorado State. They cannot look past them, but it's a game you got to pay attention to. Penn State, number 7, at Illinois. It's a noontime kickoff. I got Portland State going into Illinois and knocking off the Illini. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Number 14, LSU at Mississippi State. That's a noontime kickoff on ESPN. I got LSU going in there and getting that win. South Carolina at number 1, Georgia, 3:30 p.m. kickoff. And I've got to go with number 1, Georgia, winning that game, if that makes sense to you. Also got another game, number 11, Tennessee at Florida. And I'm going to go with Florida getting the win at home against Tennessee, if that makes sense to you. Colorado State at number 18, Colorado, is a 7 o'clock p.m. kickoff on the West Coast on ESPN. And Deion Sanders, they're favored by 23.5. I think they'll get that win, and they'll cover. I love so much about the world of sports. As I always do, give that some praise. Those are my big games this week. I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy because we want reparations now and reparations forever. We got to get all of that done. I really do appreciate so much that's happened with Big C Sports Podcast, and I'm just so grateful that so many people are starting to buy the thoughts of reparations. Executive Order 13985. I want to praise my beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandmother called her Mamo, beautiful, loving, kind woman. My great-grandfather called him Pop, former military man and former Negro League baseball player. And then my beautiful grandmother, Mud Deer, beautiful, loving, kind woman, a seer, could off the top look at a person, tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. Then my beautiful grandfather, Hezekiah, another one of a person, a seer, could look at a person, tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. Then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Love giving mama praise, always saying rise and shine. The best person I ever met in my life. And then my beautiful mother's, my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, a former pastor, had 2 churches in Oakland, but the 3rd church in Central California. He also owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, but I'm most proud he owned 40 acres of land, like President Abraham Lincoln promised black men 40 acres of land. And then my beautiful grandmother, Alberta Curry, She worked side by side with my granddaddy, and she told me when I was 8 years old, I was walking through a hallway trying to get me some more of what she thought was cookies. And she said, what are you doing, young man? You going to get some more cookies? I said, cookies are baby crap, Grandma. What I'm looking for, I'm looking for my reparations. But she did say there's something about your voice I love when you speak. And now Big C Sports is going to be talking to the #1 Senator, United States of America. That's Stephen Bradford. You got to give that some praise. Love my beautiful father. Always saying go forward, former United States Air Force fighter pilot. Always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. And love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice. Sound like thunder and lightning when Todd was speaking. Love talking about politics. Love talking about sports. So many things that I do to this day. And then my beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years. She scored 6 goals in a soccer game. Daisy with the kick. Daisy with the goal. She also set up the first interview for Big C Sports at Salem Media. And now Big C Sports is interviewing the top senator in the United States of America. She also helped set up when college coaches came to the West Coast to do work with Big C Sports. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my very handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College senior, very smart, erudite, a good man, helped me save trees. One day I used to always get newspapers to try to get stats on players and teams. And Malcolm said, Dad, he said, why don't you just Google it? I've been Googling ever since. Now on 28 podcast platforms. One day Malcolm said, Dad, do you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say Big C Sports, and you'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. And now his dad is going to be interviewing the #1 senator in the United States. You got to give that some praise. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Malcolm, give me anything you want to be. And then Big C, with all that wealth and knowledge over the years, like a great granddaddy coming out of that barn, always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe, and let's get ready to rumble. Well, that's my story. I'm taking with it. I want to thank CNN for sponsoring Big C Sports as well. And as you know, as I always do, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink, because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber. You can call Lyft. You can walk it off. You can sleep it off. But don't drink and drive. The life you save may be your own. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, you know what time it is. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat because all the Big C burgers make me light on the feet. That's why I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through it, pick up the phone and call 911 because things change when the police show up, if that makes sense to you. Well, as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super, fantastic day. Here's with the honor, President Abraham Lincoln, as if your team just won the game. Reparations now, reparations forever. Oh, come on, I gotta hear it louder than that. Said, let your team just won the game. President Abraham Lincoln said, he said reparations now. He said reparations forever. Come on, Congress, you just heard the Lord send me Executive Order 13985. Honor President Abraham Lincoln when he said reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.